Hey everybody, it's Dawn Burke here, your host of No Scrubs, the only show on the interwebs, here to help you with your talent acquisition, making sure you don't hire any bad folks. See, that's a scrub for all y'all out there. See, millennials, that's a scrub. Hey, I'm Dawn Burke. I'm the VP of People at Birmingham, Alabama-based tech company Daxco. I'm also a contributor at Fistful of Talent, and we have to say that No Scrubs is brought to you by our great friends at Jobvite. That's Jobvite. So today we're going to talk about some cool topics, and we got a cool person to talk about them with us. Mary Faulkner, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show.
I am thrilled. Mary's one of those people who I interact online with, I'd say daily at this point.
Yeah.
On the interweb, certainly I've met Mary, but we don't see each other nearly enough, so it's good to see your face.
Yes, it is.
All right, so before we get into our topic, Mary, tell the group a little bit about you.
So I always tell people I forced got my way through HR in my career. Been pretty much in everything. Started in LNOD, and I find myself director of talent at a water utility in Colorado. And basically own talent acquisition amongst other various random things, which is very true when you work for a government agency.
Sure. Very good. How long have you been in the HR field?
Gosh, a while. I would say close to 15 years, not quite there.
Okay.
I've done different industries throughout the entire time. I've worked for Fortune 200, massive global companies, down to tiny little startups back in the 90s when we thought that voice over the internet was going to be a thing.
That's right. That internet, that little thing that we call the internet. And I know Mary through, she's a speaker. She speaks all over the country. She's a blogger. She's a writer. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show because we want to let the folks know where you're going to be at and how to reach out to you. So today, the Jobvite post at FOT is called HR, Want to Get Out of the Comp Game? Think Like Black Mirror. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about this, and certainly we're going to talk about Black Mirror. One of the reasons Mary is the guest, other than the fact that she is a super awesome and smart person, is that we love Black Mirror. All right, we love Black Mirror. So level set for those of you out there in No Scrubs land who don't know what Black Mirror is. It is a wonderful show, right, Mary? Number one.
Great show.
Number two, it's on Netflix, so you can binge watch it. And essentially, it's about, it's like in a near future. They're saying like 50 years from now, where it really shows what the future could be like based on our technological advances. And what's really cool about it is that some of the technology you see, you really do say, man, that'd be awesome to have. Of course, there are big time consequences to the level of interaction and the level that technology takes over. So check it out.
Yes.
So now that gives you some context, friends, on this particular post. So one of the things that we've all seen in the HR realm these days is there's a real trend, there's a real resurgence, and it seems to be a real hot and sexy topic right now of artificial intelligence doing data mining for companies to make some decisions. Some pretty could be some pretty tough decisions about employment, about who's hireable, about who's fireable. And so what this particular post talks about, Mary, and I know that you're familiar with it, I've read an article about what is called dynamic pricing. Work with me, there's a bridge here. Dynamic pricing is essentially, to the viewers out there, you know when you go to Expedia and you say, hey, I'm going to get a plane ticket to Denver. And you go on and it gives you a bunch of prices. Okay, you pick a price. Then when you're flying there, it's very likely that the people sitting on either side of you paid a very different price for virtually the same seat to the same place. And the reason that happens is because of this concept of dynamic pricing, where the computer takes a whole lot of different data points, creates an algorithm, and determines, based on that time, that place, a variety of factors, what the price should be. All right, the listeners out there following, it's making sense so far, Mary? Of course it does. All right, so that's dynamic pricing. So now you take it a step further and we think about, what if we had this concept of dynamic pricing to help us make decisions in HR? And the one that is referenced in the blog post is about compensation. So let's talk a little bit about compensation. More importantly, making compensation offers to people. So in your experience, Mary, when we talk about, making offers or determining compensation, do you have a love relationship with this, a hate relationship with it? Talk to me a little bit about that process.
So it's kind of a love-hate, right? So we're lucky because I'm a huge believer in just put your frickin' ranges out there.
Right.
Say what you're willing to pay. So in private sector, we'll post our whole ranges from min to midpoint, min to max, everything just to say, here's what we're willing to pay. We want a level set. We want those expectations out there. We have found that it really helps with negotiations. But it's still a pain in the butt because you've got people,
Right.
I mean, am I right?
Yeah.
So you've got people who will say, well, I saw a job that was posted for this, and trying to get people to understand that, one company offering that much money does not a market price make.
Sure.
And you're still fighting that expectation. Most people are going to a new job because they're looking for more money. I know it's about purpose and mission.
Yeah.
And everybody wants that. But, there's all those studies that tell you the longer you stay in-house in an organization, the more money you're leaving on the table. So the reality is,
job compression. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you are looking externally for a job, you're probably trying to look for a pretty good bump in your salary.
Mm-hmm.
So managing all those expectations can be really hard.
So again, there's the yin and the yang. There's the expectations of a candidate with negotiations, and we have to manage those. And on the other hand, sometimes companies really don't put enough good thought into what their pay philosophy is, what their compensation structure should be, what's fair, what's marketable, et cetera.
Yep.
So that's kind of the hate part. And then, of course, negotiating with folks. I don't find it the worst thing in the world, but sometimes it is the bane of somebody's existence, and I get that. So let's talk a little bit more about the post regarding automating this. So really the post is less about comp and more about something like a comp problem, something like I want to a challenge. What would it be like? And could the future of HR actually be implementing artificial intelligence, some sort of algorithm that not only would help with things like engagement or recruiting, but things that could be as heady as compensation. For instance, and that'd be on what does the company need and what does the candidate need. And some of the things could be for company data point. And again, just like dynamic pricing, every job could be different. Or if you have the same job and different candidates, the different data could show that they deserve different ranges of pay. And it could be fairly disparate. Who knows? So it could be, is the job that you're looking for, is it a single point of failure? Do you have to hire somebody quickly or your business will explode or implode? Is this job a feeder role into 14 other jobs in the organization, like a customer success role that goes into other things, et cetera? And really, at what point, I think it'd be interesting to even put in there, is the company performing well financially? Because, of course, there are budget concerns as well. Now, those things are, in my opinion, fairly easy to put some, easy-ish to put some data points around it. The creepy part comes into using artificial intelligence to actually mine data from the candidate, using algorithms, looking at social media usage, how much time are they spending online actually studying and learning about the career of their choice, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I think that's the Black Mirror part, right? That's where you're totally like, oh, yikes. So certainly we know that there'd be a lot of complications to that. But Mary, what I would ask you in your HR, somebody who's gone to a lot of conferences, has seen vendors that are selling artificial intelligence types of things, not for comp, by the way. Right. What's your thoughts on the overall, what you're seeing the trend in the HR realm?
So the thing that's interesting about AI for me is there are some applications today that it could work really well. Think about, and I mean, they're doing it in pay TV right now. So if you're doing a chat with your pay TV provider, there's a really good chance it's a bot. It's got an algorithm that's in there. It's a commonly asked question. How can I find out more about my bill? There's a built-in response that's always going to give it to you. So it's happening today. So if you're chatting. What
is a bot for people who don't know what a bot is?
A bot is there's probably like a real definition of it, but it's go Google that on the interweb.
Right, there we go.
But basically it's a string of responses that looks for more commonly used languages, and based on the language that you're using, will frame a human-sounding response to your question. So anytime you've seen kind of automated tweets or you've been on customer service, you're going to get a bot from time to time. And it's fun, like Siri. Think of Siri as a bot.
Oh, yeah. Okay, perfect. That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, that would be a really good one. So you're seeing it today. HR would probably love it because think of how many times you've answered the question. Yes, paychecks will be in your as it goes into advanced. Or during annual enrollment. Here's the dates. That type of stuff. For those simple kind of questions, it would be a really good instant piece. Where I get nervous about AI, especially in today's environment, is that we suck at data collection and we don't have good data warehousing.
Yep.
So good AI and good algorithms require excellent data, clean data. It's so easy to manipulate. It's so easy to have the wrong data in there. People fat finger things all the time. So when you start looking at things like candidate interaction and the bigger, more hoary things that are out there, you've got to be really careful because the data is not always correct. And you're going to be making some pretty massive decisions based on flawed data.
Yes. And I think that's something that a lot of times when you go to conferences and you see the big booth and it says, oh my, wave of the future, AI, come in here and see our virtual reality technology. I have to tell you, for the average HR pro that's probably there to, learn a little more about the Affordable Care Act or whatever that iteration will be, they see that and that is pretty compelling. And honestly, it's compelling to me as well. I think the other thing that people are seeing is some real truth and reality to this technology getting better and better and better. You've just said Siri, Alexa, a variety of things are becoming a normal part of the household. However, what people are forgetting, particularly when it comes to the HR sphere, we're just not good at data collection anyway. Now we're getting better. That's not a slam on HR. I do agree with you, though. I think people look at the sexy and then forget, wait a minute, though, why have we struggled with this already? Because the concepts that I've been reading in this blog post about, hey, let's take different data points and make a fair and balanced decision on comp. Well, we do that now.
Exactly.
Just not well.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that in some ways, hopefully the technology will help us in that area and not hinder us. So do you believe that artificial intelligence, algorithms, data mining, making database decisions, maybe even weighing those heavier than the human-based decisions is a trend or a fad?
Right now, I say it's a kind of a fad just because it hasn't been proven at that level just yet. I think it could become a trend, just like big data was a kind of a fad, but honestly, we're still using it. We just don't call it big data anymore unless we put air quotes. But
it's just data. I never understood why it had to be called big data.
It's just what we've been doing.
It's data, but better. Right.
Yeah. Though, I think what will make it a trend is if everybody does it. I think about if you use AI for compensation or candidate selection, everybody has to do it or it's not going to work. It's kind of like the Electoral College. Either everybody accepts a different way of doing it or nobody can do it.
Yes.
Because if you are the one company that has chosen to use AI that makes all those decisions and there is no human element, they're going to probably go to somewhere where there's a little bit more fudge factor.
Yep.
So you're going to have to really kind of weigh when you're going to enter it and how you're going to use it. And, early adopters are great, but at what point in the curve are you going to jump on it and really think about how it's going to impact you? I mean, just a quick story. One of the ways that we do merit right now is basically an algorithm. There's no discretion. It's, where you're at in your salary range and what you got, and the budget and all that sort of things. And it's a formula.
Sure.
And I'll tell you, people don't like formulas.
Yeah.
They think they did a really great job.
That's right.
And so you have to really weigh that. Like, there are things that make it easy for you. So it's easy for us to look at, well, here's what the math says.
Sure.
But it's also a really easy way to give up your responsibility as a leader.
Yep.
To be able to say, well, this is what the math says. And so if we have to decide as HR or as leaders or even just as a human race as to how much of that responsibility we're willing to abdicate to a formula and decide if that's really where we want to go.
So Mary, we got to talk about Black Mirror then, because there's a little bit of like Twilight Zone situation with what we are talking about and Black Mirror episodes. So are there any episodes you think that really tie into what we've been talking about here today?
I mean, there's a couple, but the one that really ties in it's called Nosedive. It's from season 3.
Yes.
It's Bryce Dallas Howard, and the whole concept of it is your status in life is based on how people rate you on basically what Facebook is. And if you remember, wasn't there going to be a Yelp for people? Didn't that get announced at one point? I can't remember what it was called, but it got shot down pretty quick, and it was about 2 years ago. But the whole episode is this concept. And so if you have 4 stars or more as a human being on this app, you can get better rental cars, you can get better offices, you can get better jobs. And the whole concept is based on your status online and not your real life.
Yes.
So it ties in from there, from the standpoint of, if you're going to look online to see how people are interacting, are you really getting the true person?
Right.
Or are you getting the version of that person who wants the higher raise?
Absolutely.
Wants the better job?
Absolutely.
And
gaming the system could be so, well, it would happen. It simply would happen.
Totally. I mean, the whole episode is about how it happens. And I mean, you see it today, right? You see people who get mad online because of all the humble brags and it's like, oh, I woke up like this. Like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. No, you go to therapy just like I do. It's fine. Yes. No, so I think that is absolutely, probably of all the episodes, the one that correlates to this topic the most. So guys, the thing about Black Mirror is that it's each episode separate. So go to Netflix, Black Mirror season 3. It's like, or is it season 2?
It's season 3, episode 1.
Episode 1.
One that was shot with Americans.
That's right. So check it out. She is absolutely right. And there's so many more. So outside of that one, what's your favorite episode?
I was trying to think of my favorite. Each season has a favorite. So I love 15 Million Credits. It was the one that's great world building. Season 1, fantastic. Mm-hmm. Stars the guy in Get Out, so go see it.
Yeah, he was good in that.
But really overall, from like an impact standpoint, I got to say White Bear.
White Bear was mine too. White Bear.
It's the second season. Stay through the credits. Not going to do any spoiler alerts. But
yes.
That one stuck with me more than pretty much any of the other ones.
That was one where, with all episodes, you go to sleep and you wake up the next day still thinking about it a little bit.
Right.
That one, though, was a tipping point of almost like, that really could happen. Like, that's something that could happen very soon. So,
next week.
Like next week. We don't.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so many thoughts, so little time. All right, very good, cool. We could talk on that is the perfect ending. So I think it's tread lightly, continue to experiment, make sure the data's good. Whether you've got an artificial intelligence, something sexy and big and bold, whether you call it big data, little data, etc. Whether it's simply attributing a performance review score to a compensation metric manually, make sure your data's good. Yep. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Mary. This was a great conversation. We could go on forever about this. And rest assured, people out there in the interwebs, there are applicant tracking systems now. There are HCM and HRIS systems now that are doing this. Not the compensation scary thing, is that sort of thing, but as far as really using the algorithms and doing some data mining now. So it'll be interesting what the next years bring us. Mary, tell everybody where they can find you. I know you write blogs, you're speaking. Where are you going to be at?
So my blog is Surviving Leadership. It's a WordPress, so it's survivingleadership.blog. So I post somewhat frequently.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
but you'll find it. I'm on the Shoreham blog from time to time. Next up for speaking, I'll be at the Q conference in California, and then I'll be at Work Human, which sounds like we're cumin, but it's Work Human.
Work Human. Yeah, that's how you make great tacos recipes.
Exactly. I'm very into that. No, Work Human conference. It's a great conference. This will be my third one. I've been there from the beginning. I'm speaking at this one, so I'm really excited. And then.
Can people follow you on Twitter?
Yeah, you can just follow me on Twitter. It's at mfaulkner43, because there are a lot of M. Faulkners in the world. But just hunt me down, Mary Faulkner, and would love to hear from you on Twitter.
All right, guys. Mary, thank you so much for your time. This is Dawn Burke with Fistful of Talent. And, of course, Jobvite, JOBVITE. Till next time. See you later.
Bye.